let me give me a second. I'll pull it up live right here on the podcast. This is live information, y'all.
Live information. You got dropping
this
gems.
year I have brought in $86,305 off of DNA testing by itself. So that's not including Paternity University. That's not including mobile home income. That's not including real estate. All right.
Yes, sir. We back, Boss Up with K channel. I'm back with a very special business opportunity for you guys. Many of you guys have never heard of. Very rare that you see these type of videos or this type of content on YouTube. What am I talking about? Yeah, you see the title, you see the thumbnail, DNA testing. Yes, you can be your own DNA testing business. It can be full-time, it can be part-time. You can kind of create your own schedule around it and make as much money as you want. I know I'm usually talking about driving positions, gig positions, but I also show you how to start legitimate brick and mortar, mobile, or just any type of business where you have to file taxes and legally form your business. And I'm here with a very special guest, Royale Banks.
Yeah, what's up, Kevin? How you doing, man?
All right, man. Good to have you on the the podcast.
Yes, sir.
So, we're gonna get into it. First, we're kind of get into your background. Kind of tell us about yourself, kind of your entrepreneurial journey, where you're from and how you get to this point.
Sure, man. Yeah, man. Long story short, first off, I'm for having me on your podcast. Long story short, man, I've always been entrepreneurial ever since I was a little kid. My first business as a little kid was, mowing lawns and raking leaves and stuff like that. Doing that, the you do as a kid, eventually, just getting older, and selling hamburgers and cheeseburgers in college, you know what I'm saying? In the dorms at night when folks would get the
schools you go to?
I went to Tuskegee.
Right. Tuskegee, okay.
Yeah, I went to Tuskegee, man. Me and a homeboy got together. We make hot dogs, hamburgers in our house off campus and stuff like that. Walk on campus, or drive on campus and just go straight to the dorms. We were Uber Eats before Uber Eats. You just go straight there. There was no Uber Eats at that time.
Oh no, yeah, exactly.
There was none of that. So progressing on, man. I'm active duty in the Army. Duty for about 6.5 or so years. I'm out here in West Texas, El Paso, Texas. And yeah, man, I started the DNA testing business because first off, my mom has been doing DNA testing for 20 years. She's been doing this for almost 21 years now.
Wow.
And I've just seen her, go through various stages of her business throughout since I was 10 years old, basically. And so a couple of years ago, during the pandemic, I was trying to on the mobile homes. I had mobile homes. I had a mobile home that I was renting out. I had wholesale.
That's the extra line of revenue I found out about during the pandemic as well, about actually buying mobile homes and how affordable they are in the process.
Yep, I had bought mine, the one that I had pre-pandemic, but so I was looking to try to wholesale one out in Virginia where I was at the time, and it was a pain in the butt, man. I'm not gonna lie, like it was the DMV was closed.
Yeah,
I would have to drive from on base to off base. It would take me 25 minutes one way to get to the place to show it to people and all this. It was just annoying. I was just like, yo, man, like all this to make a potential profit of what, like $2,000? It just wasn't worth it. So I was like, you know what? Back to the drawing board, literally. I just sat down one day and I told my wife, I was like, yo, how about we take this money that you provided as essentially seed money, because she cashed out her 401k after leaving her job, and I was like, yo, how about we take some of this money and start the DNA testing company, the same as my mom. And you don't need $10,000 to start. You don't. You need less than $1,000, if that. Right.
All right.
So she was like, yeah, I've been told you that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, she didn't hit you with the been told.
I told you to start. She didn't hold it over my head. She was just like, yo, like, your mom does it. I was trying to help my mom, and possibly one day take over the business. But she was like, how about you just start your own and grow it your way, how you see fit. Now, you know what?
So what was the way your mom was running the business versus how you were running the business?
Yeah, she runs it. She is, you know how you have on the ESBI with Robert quadrant. the quadrant: employee, self-employed, business owner. As like she's the expert technician, self-employed, almost like she does all the work herself.
Okay.
She does all the testing, she does all the coordinating, she does all the emailing, she does all the answering, all the phone calls. She does everything herself. I run mine like systems based. So I have a virtual assistant. She does all that stuff. I have, different software that I use. I created my own software for it. Everything.
Right.
I run mine system based.
Right.
So that's the difference. But at the time when I started, I didn't know that I was going to run mine system based. You see what I'm saying? I had no idea, but I had an intention to run it a little bit differently. And my mom has her ways of doing things, and I have mine, which is completely fine. Like ultimately, we're in the same business, we're in the same deal. It's cool. So,
yeah, time you guys piggybacked off each other's services. You wasn't available to do a DNA test, and you sent something over to mom, and
it hasn't gotten to that point where I've had to send somebody to her and vice versa, because our circles, our spheres of influence of marketing don't intertwine. But for sure, in the first, I would say a good 8 to 12 months of me operating the business, my mom was like my number one advisor. Like she was the one that told me, yo, do this, do that, don't do that, don't do this.
Makes sense.
This is who you reach out to. She was like Paternity University for me.
For you, yeah.
For me specifically. She gave me the game.
So that means you got the 2 years which you have plus the 25 years experience all into that course, which we're going to get into towards later on into this broadcast.
The stuff that I say in the course, is knowledge from my mother, and everything systemized into one place that is accessible. So absolutely, yes, that's 100% correct.
And that's one of the things that's kind of missing this day and age: apprenticeship. A lot of people back in the days, people came up under somebody apprentice on making shoes, horseshoes, building houses. This day and age, we got technology, DNA testing. So, it's kind of like apprenticeship, and now you're out on your own. It was affordable. You didn't have to go to college. You had to pay somebody to learn. So that's definitely the way to go. So where are you located now? Are you I know you say you're in the military. Where city are you in?
I'm in El Paso, Texas. I'm in El Paso, Texas, and I have multiple Google locations in different cities, but I can essentially test nationwide. And so here is what DNA testing is. So people might be like, "What is DNA testing? What does that mean?"
Let's get into that.
So what I do is paternity or relationship testing. It's a difference between this and Ancestry.com and 23andMe.
Okay.
Ancestry.com and 23andMe is I want to find out what my ancestry is. I want to find out what my genetic lineage is. I want to go back 500 years and determine if I'm, from Nigeria or if I'm from, the Middle East or something, whatever, right? This is determining, is the person who I think is my father, is that my father? Is the person who I think is my grandmother, is that my grandmother? Determining relationship testing. So it's a difference between that. I don't help people find their long lost uncles. I help people determine if the person that they think is their father, or if the person who they think is the father of their child is a father, or if they are the father of that child. I confirm that. So that's what paternity testing is. It's a difference. I don't own a laboratory. Okay. I don't own 800,000 of DNA sequencer equipment. I am a broker. I am a consultant. I am a middleman. Okay. Between the client and the laboratory who actually processes the test. Okay. So a lot of people ask, well, how come they don't just reach out straight to the laboratories? A lot of people don't know what the laboratories are. They have no idea what that is. They just search paternity test near me. And if you pop up on Google, they're going to call you because they need answers. They don't know what DNA diagnostics is. They don't know what LabCorp is. They don't know what that is. A collector local to that area to actually collect the samples, which would be me anyway. So that's what paternity testing is. That's what it is, and that's what my role is.
Okay, sounds good. So the big question is, with this being DNA testing, what's your estimated revenue from? I know you started in 2020, but from full, 2021, and then following up this year, what's kind of your estimated revenue? Not
this
net.
Entire, let me I'll pull it up. Shoot. Okay. I'm not gonna show on the screen, but I'll pull it up to make sure I'm not tripping. My first year, and I like how you say revenue versus profit, or revenue versus EBITDA is a whole separate thing.
Whole separate thing.
I make, let me give me a second. I'll pull it up live right here on the podcast. This is live
Hey,
information, y'all.
information. You got dropping
This
down.
year, I have brought in $86,305 off of DNA testing by itself. So that's not including Paternity University. That's not including mobile home income. That's not including real estate. All right. That's not including my job.
Yeah.
Straight DNA testing.
The name of your assurance, your DNA testing.
Assurance DNA.
I'm looking at assurance. I'm trying to read it. Assurance DNA. So Assurance DNA brought in $88,000 this year.
This year, 86,000 this year. Last year,
$1,000.
Last year, 2021, when I was in my first full year in business, I brought in $23,000 in revenue. See how that is almost nearly quadruple.
That's triple. Yeah.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
And then your first year, your first full year, what was the growing pains? What was that's the thing that brought you over the hump from last year to this year?
Sure. Systems.
So first year, you pretty much trying to do everything yourself. You calling, you're booking the phone call.
Yeah, I was trying to figure everything out. I knew, like I said, okay. First year, first off, there's so many things, man, and this is the stuff that I highlight in the course. The first year, I was worried so much about my logo and my website and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I figured, honestly, over time, I figured that people don't really care about your website, or they won't
not even go to your website
transactions. They don't. They go straight to that Google My Business, that map pack right there. When you search for Indian food near me, right, on Google, and you pull up those first little 3 things with the stars and the call and the website, that's what people look at. They don't go on Google. They might
past the first.
Yeah, they'll scroll through the pictures on Google if it's food, but if it's for a service such as upholstery or carpet cleaning or house cleaning or whatever, they search, they look at the stars real quick, they might look at a review, and they hit call. They don't really go to your website. They don't look there. They don't care about your logo. They call, and when they call, you answer. So the humps that I was getting over was, first off, learning what my capabilities were, what I could offer. What, other than just paternity testing, what are all the different tests I can offer? Siblingship, avuncular, which is testing the aunt and uncle of the alleged father. Grandparentage, how do I do a test for a deceased person? How do I do a test for if the gentleman is in jail? How do I outsource paternity testing? All those things was things that I learned, and the primary, for the first 9 months of 2021, I had only made $3,000 in revenue total for the first 9 months of 2021. From September until December, I made $20,000 in revenue. Why?
That was based off of your geolocating only El Paso, Texas area until you started.
That is correct, because I moved to El Paso in the very beginning, like December 2020, January 2021. I was in the Baltimore area, right? Okay. I was in I was in the Fort Lee, Virginia, like Richmond, and then Baltimore area.
Gotcha.
I was trying to market towards those areas, plus DC, plus Birmingham, plus Atlanta, plus El Paso, and all this other stuff, right? It wasn't until I moved to El Paso in April and then decided I'm going to hyper focus on El Paso. I'm going to get to know El Paso. I'm going to get to know the market. I'm going to get to know the demographics. I'm going to get to know everything before I, try to expand to other markets. And when my wife moved in with me, finally she moved in, she finished her master's degree, and she moved in with me, and she started taking all my calls. Because I couldn't answer every single call when I was at work. So once she started answering the calls, and she's a pleasant woman with a pleasant speaking voice on the phone, and she's comforting, and her by trade, she's a therapist. She's a mental health therapist. So she knows how to speak to people.
Speak to people.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, it's okay. We're gonna work through it. That right there, boom. That's when it shot up.
So what's the market cap? But how big is the DNA testing business? How many business or independent franchises like you're on? Because I know I've looked on. I actually had a DNA test, private DNA test done before myself, maybe 8 years ago, and so I know there's a lot of independent labs out there, but I don't know how big is it.
Yeah. That's great. I don't have now. The thing is, a lot of things about the DNA testing industry itself, like paternity relationship testing, a lot of the information is like private or just held within the companies themselves. It's not really publicly researchable information unless you get one of those trade journals and pay $2,000 or whatever for it, right? But to my knowledge, just from my experience, there are two main American Association of Blood Banks accredited laboratories that do the bulk of paternity testing in the country and across the world. That is DNA Diagnostic Center and LabCorp. Those are the two main ones that do a lot of the testing. There was a
kind of partner with.
You said what?
Those two you partner with.
I'm partnering with DNA Diagnostics. LabCorp, like, you know, LabCorp is massive. They don't just do paternity testing. DDC focuses on paternity testing. That's what they do. LabCorp paternity testing is a small smidgen of their revenue.
Yeah.
They do drug testing and STD testing.
They got enough of my urine over the past few years.
Right. Yeah. They can't be bothered too much with it. They're like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. So DDC, if you ever seen Paternity Court or Maury, that's where they read the results. That's a DDC test right there. And I'm a corporate partner of DDC. So numbers wise, you know, there isn't really public numbers on how many people get paternity tests a year. The last article that I read was, I think, from 2015 or 16, maybe. It was within the past like 5 to 10 years that said on average there's been about 1 million paternity tests a year done, conducted. It's probably is more than likely grown since
country. That's just in America, or that's worldwide.
That's just in America. That's just in America, and I'm for sure it has grown since COVID. People were locked down; they got nothing else to do, or they're locked down, and they look at the kid that they got, and they're like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So over 1 million DNA tests a year. Gotcha.
Now, when I was talking about the labs. The laboratories are the ones who process the paternity test. People like me, we're called distributors or corporate partners or resellers of paternity testing. So there is a bunch of us sprinkled around, you know.
And that's what I wanted to get to, kind of the structure of the business and how you, form how you break it down. So is this more of a mobile business, a brick and mortar? Do you need a site to?
All you need is this right here,
the phone.
That's it. I operate the whole thing from my phone.
Off a cell phone.
Now, there's two business models that you can do this. My mentor, his business model is a hybrid of brick and mortar and outsourcing. Okay, because he has multiple locations. This is his full-time gig. So he's gonna have an office, right? And he has an office in one of the cities that he's in that they come to. The other cities, he kind of sort of outsources things and kind of figures that out. It's like a hybrid. I am basically like 99% outsourced. Like I don't have a brick and mortar. I have an office that I can rent by the hour for like $19 an hour if I need it.
Is that with Regis or somebody? It's
a Regis, yeah. Like, and that's if I'm, for example, if somebody wanted a paternity test today, I'm off work. I'm not there. All right. I'm not at work. So if they want a DNA test today, I'll go book a room with the Regis and I'll do it in person. But I'm at work most of the time. Yeah. And I just outsource all my tests. All of my tests. I've done 107 tests this year. And like I've only seen maybe like 6 people or 7 people. And me personally. Everything is outsourced. Everything.
So you're still making your full-time W-2 income with the military, or is you still
I'm still like that's the beautiful thing, man, is like, you know, a lot of people talk about, oh man, quit your job and be an entrepreneur immediately. Hey, bro, look, my bills and more are more than covered by my 9 to 5. Okay. Technically your military is not 9 to 5, it's more like 6 to 6, right? But all my bills are covered. I have nothing my healthcare is covered. I'm good. I am completely good. So this is fun. This is a fun thing I'm building on. If I had to depend,
not even taking up much of your time. How many hours do you spend now on this business?
Maybe like a total of 3 hours a week, if that. My VA handles most of the calls. She handles most of the calls, most of the coordination. I might, if you're talking like me advising my VA on certain stuff, like going back and forth, emailing her like, hey, do this, do that. Counting maybe if my VA cannot answer the phone because she's on lunch and I answer a call and I coordinate a test, maybe 2 to 3 hours a week, maybe.
Okay.
Like, That's not creating
4 hour work
content.
week. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not creating content for Paternity University. That's not doing group coaching calls. I'm talking straight DNA testing is maybe 2 hours, 3 hours a week, if that.
Okay. So with that, is it any certifications, any licenses you need for your business model and maybe the
No,
full time, you have a
no.
brick and mortar?
If you want to draw blood,
Mhm.
because the pregnancy paternity test, you have to draw blood from the mother's arm. Okay. So if you want to draw blood, you have to be a phlebotomist. That's if you want to do it. But guess what? I don't do it. I outsource all of it to a certified phlebotomist. And I have, the structure is in the course. All it tells you exactly how to do it. So I don't have, I mean, other than my, LLC, obviously, right? But I don't have any certifications or licenses that I need to do this,
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Then as far as marketing, I know you mentioned Google was one of the primary driving forces of how you bring in business for this. Any of the, extracurricular gems you can give us about bringing in clientele or marketing your business or getting the word out about your
Yeah, absolutely. I am getting back into this. I'll be honest, I haven't done it in a while, but where'd they all go? Here we go. Sending letters to attorneys.
Oh,
family law attorneys.
What's the deal with attorneys?
So if you send, and not many DNA agencies, not many people like me do this. My students are on it. I tell you that. A lot of the other ones, they ain't on this right here. Making relationships with attorneys, because if you're making a relationship with a family law attorney, divorce attorney, probate attorney, people need paternity tests. By the way, people need paternity tests for not just they want to know, they need for legal reasons too. Child support, trying to get on or off child support, trying to get their name on or off the birth certificate, child custody. They need a paternity test to prove it to the court. Probate, somebody, alleged father dies, right? And he never established paternity for sure, or put his name on a birth certificate or whatever. The siblings would need to do a paternity test to determine that they're related as part of the probate proceedings. All right. All that stuff is legalities involved with it. So making relationships with these attorneys is key, because they could just refer you. That doesn't have to come from Google. That's the B2B aspect of this business. The business to consumer is Google Ads, Google. The client calls you directly, hey, I have this issue. But the thing is, your conversion rates. I've done two or three attorney referred paternity tests. Every single one of them converted. Every single one I sold. Because the attorney's like, hey, you need this paternity test. Okay, I know of a person who does this. I'm going to call them on your behalf. Hey, I'm attorney so-and-so. Are you available? Yes, I am. All right, my client will give you a call. Like the client's not going to say, well, I don't know, like maybe I should call around. No, there is no calling around. The attorney is referring me. There is no calling around. You know what I'm saying? Like there is no thinking about it. No, you need this for court by January 15th. Exactly. What are you going to do?
So, all right. So we got how to get the customers, how the business is formed, and everything. But how do you actually perform a DNA test? What is the when you actually book a room? What's the basic DNA test procedure look like?
This right here is how a DNA test looks. This is it. It's just some paperwork and some swabs, right? This is how
like a big giant Q-tip or.
Yep. So how a DNA test is actually performed is if it's for legal purposes, you have them fill out something called a chain of custody. It's some paperwork that states, hey, I, Kevin Blackman, was here at this time at this location, and I let this collector swab me for a paternity test for legal reasons. They took a picture of my ID. They took a picture of me, and I'm signing off saying that I did this. And then the collector then swabs you, puts the swab inside of an envelope, sends it off to the lab to be tested. Okay. That chain of custody makes it legal because it's documentation showing that you were there at that time, at that place, at that actual hour and minute, saying that you were tested. It's sealed off with this tamper seal right here. It's sealed off, sent to the laboratory. Nobody else touches it. That's what makes it court admissible. If it's for peace of mind purposes, you can either swab yourself at home and send it in, or you can go into a location and somebody will. It's just a mouth swab.
So they got at home tests, and they got permanent legal.
That is correct. So here is what a chain of custody looks like, and I show this to my students as well. This is a DDC chain of custody. Okay, right here.
It makes everything court admissible, legit.
It makes everything court admissible. So what do you think, Kevin, is the difference between a at-home test or a peace of mind test and a legal test? What do you think is the difference? It's a little quiz.
I think the difference then will be a price. One, because
Yeah, that's
you
true.
have to send stuff off. You got some extra steps. One's going to cost more, and
You see this right here?
paperwork. Yeah, same
Now
paperwork.
that's a non-legal now. That's an informational test right now. Well,
Wow.
once I take away the tamper tape as
Paper
well.
said, yeah.
This is now a home test. You see that? Pricing difference and structure of how it's done is literally just taking away a sheet of paper.
All right. So let's kind of get into how much do you charge?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Because I know you kind of also mentioned you got grandparent paternity
Yep.
test. You
Yes,
got
sir.
aunt and uncle. You
Yes, sir.
may have blood. You may got cheek swab. So
Yep.
kind of break down, some of the pricing structures of how
Sure.
much you charge.
Absolutely. So I charge, let's start from the lowest. If someone wants an at-home test kit that I send to them and they test at home and send in this lab, I charge $199 plus tax and shipping, which ends up being about $227 or so. Okay. The lab charges me, depending on what lab I use, they'll charge me either $90 to process the samples, or they'll charge me $113 to process the samples, and I keep the rest. The rest is my profit. Okay. If they don't feel comfortable testing at home, a lot of people don't. They're like, I don't care if you send me a home kit. I feel like I'm going to screw something up. So I want to come into one of your locations and get tested. I charge $299 plus tax and shipping. Okay. If they come into a location and I outsource it, sometimes I add an outsourcing fee. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I need to get better at that part of my SOPs. But
Do you keep tests on hand?
On hand? I do, but honestly, the places that I outsource to, and this is a specific reason why I send them to these places, they keep kits on hand. So I don't have to mail out any kits to anybody. They keep kits on. All I have to do is provide a case number to them that I generate in
email or text. Yeah.
Yep. I just say, hey, Kevin Blackman's coming in at this time. This is a DDC non-legal test. Here is the case number generated. Please send an invoice once it's done and the tracking number as well. Boom, done. You know what I mean? I don't have to mail out. Now, in the very beginning, I was mailing off kits. I was doing all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I figured it out. For a legal test, a legal DNA test, court admissible, I charge $349 plus tax. Okay. The lab then charges me either $120 or $132.50, depending on what lab I use. All right. So I keep the difference from there. For once you get into like grandparentage and stuff, grandparentage, avuncular, siblingship if it's for legal purposes, I charge $399 plus tax. If it is a pregnancy paternity test, which is in very high demand, woman's pregnant at least 7 weeks, she wants to know who the father is, I charge either $1,399 plus tax or $1,599 plus tax. There's a reason behind
what's that type of testing called? Because
it's called non-invasive prenatal paternity testing. That's what it's called.
Non-invasive prenatal paternity testing.
Non-invasive prenatal paternity testing. The reason why is because some women, when women get pregnant and either A, you have the invasive test, which is done through something called amniocentesis or chorionic villus sampling. Usually women get that to determine if their child may have Down syndrome prior to the child being born, to determine if they have an illness or Down syndrome, etc. Okay.
We had the same thing with our last child. Yeah.
Yep. And sometimes paternity can be determined through that test. But the primary reason why women get that is for that, to determine if they may have Down syndrome or any other illnesses or diseases that may affect them. The other type is strictly paternity. It's called non-invasive, or NIP, non-invasive prenatal paternity testing. And so that's when the woman is pregnant and she's like, hey, I want to know who the father is, before the child is born. They can do that. I use the term pregnancy management from there, determining what they want to do in that situation. If they determine if that's the father, that's the guy they want, okay, fine. They do whatever they want. If it's not the guy they want, they do what they want from there. This is their choice. Okay. So I charge between $1,400 and about $1,600 for those types of tests right there. And those are in very high demand. That is what increased my revenue significantly. It's a high revenue, lower profit margin test, but it's in very high demand. Most of the calls I get is for that.
Okay, and that's kind of the ones you get coming from the attorneys, or that's more just business customer to business.
That's more a client. That's the clients calling me. The ones coming from attorneys is like, hey, the alleged father died. They're in probate. They need this test to prove they're siblings, or
All right.
this guy's going through a divorce, etc.
All right, so we got about 7 more minutes. I think we're just gonna let it run out, and then I'm just gonna start another Zoom back up.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Finish up. I got about maybe like 3 more questions.
Sure.
So, any funny stories? Any strange occurrences? Anybody try to beat you up? Anything crazy?
Nah. I haven't had that. I tell this story a lot. I've had the strangest slash like not really heartbreaking, but it was just like, damn, you know what I mean? Like one of those like damn situations. My first in-person legal DNA test that I ever did was in West Texas.
Okay.
And I had a client, she contacted me, was like, hey, I need this paternity test. I honestly don't think it's my husband's. I think it's my ex-lover's. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, cool. I go to do the paternity test. Results come back. The husband is not the father. All right. So by deducing from there, it was probably the ex-lovers, right? And I tested all of them. You know what I'm saying? The kid was adorable. The dad was eager, like, the husband, I hope it is mine, you know what I mean?
Oh man.
Comes back, it wasn't his. So I sent her the results. And like throughout the next couple of days, she's like, I think she's going through like the 5 stages of grief, pretty much. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe, this happened. And then she's like, are these results real? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah. I want to be like, no, they're not real. I'm a scam company and that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, yes, they are. And she said, okay, fine. And she called me the next day. Do you think him drinking alcohol could affect the test? And I was like, no, like him, like, he didn't have anything in his mouth during the time. So there's no obstruction. If that would have been the case, the lab would have said, hey, recollect because there was an obstruction. We could tell there was something in his mouth, or the results would have came back maybe inconclusive or just something like that. She's like, no, him drinking, like, could that affect his DNA? And I was like, no, drinking does not affect your DNA. You know what I mean? Like she was just in denial in a way. She was in denial. Yeah, man, that was
out the door once you got that news. All right, yeah.
Yeah, that was something, man. And I feel bad. I haven't talked to him. I don't talk to a lot of my clients after I'm done, honestly.
So how do you usually deliver that in type news? Is the email? I know it's
I sent him a secured email with the information. In the email, I say, hello, Mr. So-and-so, Mrs. So-and-so. Please see the attached DNA results report. According to the results, the probability of paternity is 99.9%, meaning that you are the father. I say that in my emails now because before I would say, hey, please see the attached result, give me a Google review. And the results would say probability of paternity 0% or probability of paternity 99.9999997%. And people will email me back like, what does 0% mean? Or they'll be like, what does 99.999999997 mean? Does that mean I'm not the father? I'm like, no, man, a probability. I mean, you can't get 100% because we have to test every single man in your race on Earth to, you know what I'm saying? But like 99.99999, that means that you are the father. So now I just say this means that you're the father. I had a guy yesterday.
If it ain't 100, it might be a how
I had a guy yesterday, man. He called me and he was hurt because he was not the father and he wanted to be the father of that child. And he was like, can you explain to me this? And the report has it has these what they call DNA markers.
Mm-hmm.
And basically on the report, each marker has to have at least one number match up with the child, right? Between the father and the child. If one number of any of those don't match up, that means he's not the father. So I had to explain to that guy what that meant. He was like, it's hard for me to process this information right now. Like this is crazy. Like I can't, he was like, no, I appreciate you for what you've done, but this situation is like messing with me. Like it's hard. So I was like,
I know this is hard on you sometimes. You hear those stories and people and everything like that.
It was rough, man. It was rough.
Some of the shorts you posted on is it a Instagram or YouTube too?
Yeah,
you drop the stories on there as well. So if you guys check them out, drop your social media links real quick, and then we're gonna
sure. I am most active on Twitter. Royal Skigi is it? So ROYAL
That's gonna
SKEGEE.
leave a link and then all that information down in the
Yep.
section
Yep.
below.
YouTube, Paternity University. Just look up Paternity University on YouTube. That's where I'm most active at. I'm not really. Instagram is kind of Facebook, I don't be on Facebook like that. So Twitter, YouTube.
I would think Facebook will be a great marketing because that's where kind of the older crowd is, generation getting married, who getting divorced, who may need those type of things.
I'm gonna have to take a stab at it.
Leaned into the marketing on that section, not yet.
I'm gonna have to take a stab at it. I tried it with my mom's business like a couple of years ago, and it was just weird. Like I would just get people like laughing at the statuses or whatever. Like I want people,
serious people, yeah.
The people who are looking for paternity testing are the ones that are Googling.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So the big question is, how can my viewers, how can others get started in this business? What is the process? Break down Paternity University and how you are helping your students and others start their own paternity testing business.
Yeah, for sure. Well, getting started, I would advise, and I'm not saying this just for my own benefit, but I would advise getting Paternity University because honestly, there's no guidance on how to start a DNA testing agency on the internet at all. There is none. You can't Google it. It's not like I just pulled a bunch of Googleable information and put it into my course. Like there isn't any at all anywhere in the world. So
you are the paternity testing guru. I have
I hate using the word guru.
I hate it too, but doing the research for this interview, like I said, I couldn't find anybody else online, anybody else just regular, not a large corporation that's even talking about doing this for other people. You got labs and stuff, but you're not, teaching, they're not breaking it down, they're not telling you what to do. So this is a great service that you're giving to the people. And, let's kind of talk about first price points of, joining the university.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So the price point is now, and no matter what you saw on YouTube 8 months ago, not you, Kevin, but if any of y'all saw my YouTube from 8 months ago and I said, of course, $97 is not $97 no more. Right?
No more.
It is $499. Okay. Which is still, is relatively affordable for something to where you cannot get this information anywhere else.
No,
now, with that comes about 2.5 hours of video lessons that break down exactly how to get started. I'll tell you straight up right now, getting started, the things that you need to get started, at least an LLC or some form of business entity formation, because one of the labs requests you to have an LLC.
Okay, so that's anywhere from $100 to $400.
Yeah, that's on or about. Yeah, Georgia is $100.
Yeah, Georgia $100. I love it. I make one every year.
Every year, you can file it on eCore, and go about your day. Some other states is a little bit higher, and the process is a little bit longer, right? But you need that. You need to get on Google My Business, which is free. Okay. All right. So there's no cost to that.
Now, with Google My Business, you have to have a location that's situated primarily yours. I know a lot of Google My Business. I don't know if you know this, I actually own a virtual address co-working space here in Atlanta. So I have people, business owners, people who, work from home, have home-based businesses, use my address, business as an address service. And what I'll tell a lot of them that I have only a certain amount of Google My Business people I allow to use this address of Google My Business, because once you get too many people at one address, they can get canceled out. But guys that are working from home, that are just, using your house or using like another location, it should be fine.
Yes.
And it's free. Google My Business.
Yes, it's free. It's a pain in the butt to deal with sometimes, like getting set up. But yes, that is free. So there's no cost to that.
Okay.
Getting a website and a professional email. So you can go on. I personally just use Squarespace, honestly. That's me. Squarespace, you can get a domain name.
Yeah. They link up through Google to get the domain name.
Yep, all that stuff, right? You can get your domain name and your website design. No, you don't have to please don't spend $3,000 on a website. You don't have to do, not in this business. You don't have to. My mentor for the longest time, granted, my mentor, he hovers, I think I texted him last and I was like, hey man, what's your revenue for the year? And he was like, oh man, we're doing way worse than last year. Last year he did $365,000 in revenue. He was like, it kind of sucks, man, because we're just under 300,000 for the year. Drax. I'm like,
Well,
Okay, you know.
do we have got a lot of tax or something he got to pay, or maybe his expenses are high? I don't know. Probably not.
um, I so it's funny because his website until he rebranded was
Uh-huh.
actually not that great.
Yeah.
It wasn't that great, but he made almost 400 grand off that.
Oh man, he had one from the early 2000s who
It
didn't have
wasn't, yeah, it wasn't that. You
very
could
basic
navigate
stuff.
it, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. You know how now we have just the landing page website, right?
Mhm.
Anyway, so y'all out there, please don't spend that. Now, partnering with the laboratory, right, and getting your kits. Guess what? They send you these for free up front. They don't. You don't have to pay for them up front. They
Mhm.
send you them for free. Every lab, they send you your kits for free. They charge you on the back
That's
end.
that's what you're gonna get in your course that you cannot find online. You cannot Google these labs that sending these labs to partner with. And that's why I want you guys that if you're interested in this business, go ahead, tap on that link in the description down below, get inside of Royal's course. I'm telling you, you will find a business.
Yeah.
Like he said, you can have your own 9 to 5, hire a virtual assistant, a business you can get in for under $1,000. Okay, so
Yeah.
we set up legitimately. We got the marketing down, branding, promoting with Google. We got the website so people can actually find you and locate you. All right, then then we got the supply from the paternity DNA testing business. Anything else we need that will kind of
you need a phone app on your phone. I mean, when I first started, look, man, I was on Google My Business with a $30 a month Squarespace website and a doggone flip phone. I bought a flip phone from T-Mobile, set up a new lab. I'm sorry, a new phone line for $100, and it was like $50 a month, right?
Okay.
And I had a separate phone that I knew that people would not. Now I have an app on my phone called Open Phone. And by the way, they don't pay me for this at all. They don't.
Right. They're not paying me either, but we might have to get a sponsorship from them.
Yeah, hey, facts. I hit them up like, yo, man, I'm bringing y'all a lot of people. But look,
Yeah.
Open Phone is great because I think Google Voice doesn't allow. I might be wrong.
I use Google Voice for a long time.
Okay, so I don't know if they allow you to have multiple users on one phone number. Like if you have a VA, can that VA have that same phone number? And when somebody calls it, it rings both of y'all.
Both your phones, yeah. Now, yeah, it will go to two things. Cause I had a business and I had like the phone number set up on my laptop and my phone and my business partner had the same number set up. So everything will start ringing the laptop.
Start ringing it. Yeah.
It's chaos. Yeah.
Open Phone is great. The UI is great. Their customer service is pretty good. The call quality is better than average on normal. Sometimes
so it basically just forwards to your current phone.
It just forwards to my phone. It rings at the same time for my VA, and then I can tell when my VA answers the phone because it shows a little picture and she's answering the phone, and then we can record. You can record calls, all that. Let them know, hey, I'm just calling being recorded, yada yada yada. That is $25 a month per person. $25. So you don't have to get. I mean, yes, I have another.
You and your VA, you split that $50.
Yeah, I cover that.
You pay for it, but
yeah, I cover that bill.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, the main bills that I pay in my business, the no crap recurring bills that I like must pay. I pay my VA, I pay her money every month plus commission, and I pay that doggone Open Phone bill. I've stopped my Google marketing, I've stopped my Google ads because my profiles, I've gotten to the point where I don't have to advertise as much. I don't have to.
Let's talk about that real quick because I know spending that marketing dollars, those costs per click you can't get expensive sometimes. Yes. But DNA testing not be I guess it would be a top search, but on the business side, not so many people doing it. So I don't think the price per keyword is not as high as
it can get up there. Like it now if you just have like DNA test, right? That people might be searching for 23andMe instead. So you're not targeting the people who are looking for a paternity test.
Paternity,
So you want to do paternity test, you want to do NIP, you want to do non-invasive prenatal paternity testing, you want to do grandparentage test. You want to have like very tailored specific keywords, and the cost per click can be $1.67. Sometimes it can be $2. It can be it normally don't go under $1. I'll tell you that.
And this is gems for any type of business you guys have. You've been a restaurant, your locksmith, anything you do, keywords and setting up those ads are key. Knowing what to put in there, thinking like a consumer, what would somebody search if they're looking for your business, and then start putting on those keywords.
And you get that data by running the ads, and you let them run. Don't change it up every day. Let it run, and then you see what they're searching. And then when they call you, You say, how'd you find me? What did you search? I searched, but they always say, here's what they say. I searched paternity testing near me. You were the first to pop up. I hit call.
I love it. That's the same thing what happened with my virtual address business. I asked, like, how'd you hear about, using me as a spot? And they say, I just Googled in my business. First one, man. That's
and you need to be in the critical, all that. Look, LLC, having your VA, all that, Google My Business, all that. If you got all that set up, great. You know what matters the absolute most in this business?
What's that?
Answering the phone.
Ooh-wee.
You have to answer if you or a VA must answer this business. People
how do you
go to your website and order a $1,600 paternity test off rip? They did that one time. That happened one time. I was at a bar in Atlanta. I was off of Edgewood chilling, and somebody was like, "Bing!" Somebody just paid you $1,400. I was like, "Well, damn, all right." 99.99, just like a probability paternity test of yes. 99.9% of the time they call. And
so how do you handle that with your VA, your multiple locations?
Sure.
Time zone difference.
My VA is based in the East Coast. She's based in New York.
Okay.
And she just answers the calls. That's it. Like she answers from 9 to 5.
Okay.
Right? Monday to Thursday, and then from 9 to 3 Friday, right?
Okay.
Any calls that she can't answer, she'll be like, "Yo, I'm be busy. I'm be at lunch. I can't answer that. Can you take them?" Sure, I'll take them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so
I can't.
So you're in El Paso, and that's what 2 hours behind.
2 hours behind the East Coast.
2 hours on the East Coast.
Yep.
So 5 o'clock, New York, 7 o'clock New York.
Yeah.
5 o'clock your time, or 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock your time, where there's still business hours.
Yes.
Are you on the clock then?
Yeah, I'll be on the clock. I'll be on the clock till 7 o'clock my time, El Paso time. Gotcha. But the thing is, it's not like a call center where like you.
It's not called back to back. Yeah, I got you.
The calls are unpredictable.
You don't want to miss no money though.
No. Yeah. Because they call, and the reason why I say you have to answer phones because I give y'all game straight up, man. Like they call around. For example, one of my students. Now my students are starting. My students who bought my course in September or October are starting to get their first DNA test, and I love it. They're starting to get their first one in a month and a half instead of the 3 months it took me, 4 months to get it. Anyway, so I had a student out in Florida who did her first DNA test this past weekend. It was a siblingship test, right? The alleged father is deceased, and the grandmother had been calling other places in the area that do DNA tests. Now, mind you, every single place, people talk about competition, every single place on Google that says they do DNA testing don't really do it, or they're not great at it, or they don't answer their phone, or they be like, we can't do that. This grandmother had been calling to do a DNA test for her grandchildren for a year, calling around other places that do DNA testing. They're like, hey, she would probably say, hey, my son is deceased. I'm trying to test my grandchildren. Is there any way that I can do that? No, we can't. No, we can't. No, we can't. No, we can't. Or, especially if somebody's in multiple cities, right? A lot of places that do DNA, they primarily do drug testing and like STD testing. When they do DNA testing, they don't want to coordinate across different states and cities. They definitely don't want to coordinate across different countries. I'm doing a test right now where one's in Canada and one's in Dallas. They don't want to do that. They don't do that. Guess what? You do. And you have to answer the phone and know how to outsource and listen to them.
That's information you are only going to get.
You're only going to get this. There's literally no other place.
Yeah. You're not going to find how to coordinate in 2 separate states, 2 separate time zones, and get it done from a lady who's been searching over a year. I'm glad she was so glad to pay you.
She searched for over a year. She searched for over a year. Talked for 10 minutes to my student. Paid before the test $400 something, $370, right?
Okay.
My student, she already has her STD and drug testing business, so she had a place already that she's there. One of the siblings comes on the Saturday, gets swabbed. The other sibling comes on a Monday, gets swabbed.
Same location or different?
I think it was a different location. She outsourced that. I think she outsourced that one, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Either she outsourced it or they came there. The client got their results yesterday.
So is that 2 tests? So that 2 separate tests, or that's 1 test?
It was 1 test. It's just 2 different collections. So it's 2 different collection times.
Gotcha.
And I advise you how to do that. Hey,
And people don't pay per collection; they just pay for the test. You
pay the whole
roll
test. You
all
just
those costs
coordinate.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah, my client in Toronto. I have a client in Toronto, another client in Dallas. That was a headache. By the way, that's oh my god.
That's two different countries. Yeah, I can imagine.
Well, no, it's not. It's not the countries. It's
the
people.
Oh, okay. So it's not the politics. It's not the it's not the law.
Yeah, no, it's not that. It's the
all right.
He said this, she said that.
That's the definition of this business. That's one thing you have to worry about. I wouldn't say worry, but be concerned when dealing with people's feelings, people's emotions, kids involved. Emotions come out.
I would tell you this, another tip, and this is just straight from me. It's not really in the course, but do not get involved in their mess. So like you're supposed to be an uninterested third party.
Yeah.
Okay. So if he says, if the father says, well, can you call the mother and tell her to call me? And no. You talk to her, man or woman.
Yeah.
Now what I will do is when they pay, I will start the coordination piece. Once you pay, I will say, okay, I will give me the mother's information. I will contact the mother directly so that I can tell her where to go for testing. Now, if you tell me, call her and tell her I said this to that, no. Because then if it ever goes to court, they might be like, well, he was doing DNA tests, but he was telling her to say this and that, but all this other stuff, and that makes me no longer.
You're gonna get subpoenaed. We don't need those problems, not at all.
Well, like no, so that's when that part is the annoying part, where it's like that doesn't happen very often. It doesn't, but anyway, so. Not many other places do this. I'm telling you, man, when it comes to coordination, that's where you make the money. Is a lot of people who call, they'll be like, oh, I'm in Cincinnati and he's in Atlanta. Do I have to fly to Atlanta? And I'd be like, no, you can test in Cincinnati. I can do that? I didn't know. Every other place said they can't do it, and I have to fly to Atlanta. Why the hell would you have to fly to Atlanta? Come on, man.
Roy, you got me thinking, man. Some of the biggest businesses these days are Uber, who doesn't own any cars.
They don't own any cars. They're not profitable though. But they don't own any cars.
But they got money coming in. Airbnb, Amazon are really how they, This is kind of in that lane.
Yes.
This is arbitrage. This is disruption in the industry that you can play the middleman, work 2 to 3 hours a week, just coordinating, sending emails. This is even before you hire your VA. You can still coordinate, make this a part-time business. You can get your money back from this course, and sounds like maybe two coordinations, depending on if you get the right. You get the invasive. What is it? Invasive or non?
The non-invasive.
Non-invasive. You can double your money off of one test.
Yeah.
This business is a game changer. And it's something that I am definitely interested in getting a part of. I am going to set this up in my virtual address business. I'm going to hire somebody to run it for me because, I got a million side hustles, a million hustles going on, as you see on this channel. But I'm going to add one more because just the income and the active income and then turn into a passive income where you can do maybe work 2-3 hours a day and just have the money coming in. Yeah, it's outstanding. And
this is a good business to also add if you're in an existing healthcare adjacent or like legal adjacent business, such as fingerprinting, drug testing, right. STD testing, blood testing, whatever. This is a great service to add.
Is this something attorneys could do? Or is that kind of conflict of
interest? It's conflict of interest.
Yeah.
It'll be conflict of interest. Yeah, it'll be conflict of interest. So this is a great something to like the next thing that I want to do, once I get kind of settled in one place, place and I'm there, probably fingerprinting. Like doing that fingerprinting stuff. Because a lot of the students are like notaries, they're fingerprinters, they do drug testing already, and they add DNA testing as an additional source of revenue. Yeah. But they learn it the Paternity University way. They don't just add it to add it. and you learn it the way that I teach it,
how to successfully run it and make
you can
profit.
add, if you have a drug testing business, you have a fingerprinting business doing pretty well. You could, they do pretty good.
I do notaries here,
Yeah, you do, and then you add this could add another $100,000 of revenue to your business. Nothing wrong with that. Make it more sellable later.
Yeah,
you want to sell it. So
that's the name of the game: building up businesses and selling them.
Yep.
Whew. Royale, man, this is an hour-long pack full of valuable information. Yeah. I know hope this video goes up, blows up. I know, you've been getting hit up from time to time, but, I want serious people interested. I want you to go follow him on YouTube. I'm going to drop your YouTube link down there. He's not as, active on other social medias, but, I'm going to link them to when he does drop some gems. Pay attention, ask some questions, but more importantly, if you're serious about getting in this business, go ahead and join that Paternity University, because, what we're hearing here, $80,000, in 1 year after he gets rolling is amazing, only working so many hours a week. You guys are out in the cold right now. Many of you guys had to wake up early, leave your kids. This is a business where you can make it family owned and still spend time with your loved ones, man. I appreciate you, Royale.
Thank you.
Insurance DNA, Boss Up with K. We out.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, for sure.